All right, we are live. Let me copy the link to post in the Discord.
That's not showing up yet.
Yeah, it probably takes a second or two. It just said we were live.
Come on, YouTube, get together. Here we go. Here we go. Got it. All right.
They got us on a delay. They don't trust us. In case they need to, in
Yeah.
case we say anything bad about Google or Alphabet, they can kill us
Right.
real
Yeah.
fast.
Oh, there it goes. Just stop. No, just kidding.
Ah.
All
Let's
right.
see. We are
So
live for episode 31. I'll post
I
it.
will copy. Oh, you're gonna post it? Okay, gotcha.
I'll
Cool.
post it in and I'm gonna post it to everybody that's here. Sorry guys for spamming people that are, which is basically just me, you, Joe, and Leo.
Well, I would just for if it's our own channel, I would just do at everybody.
Okay, we'll spam.
That's the only reason I didn't want to do it on their channel because
Because it wasn't ours.
a lot of people didn't care.
We can spam our people.
Exactly. Leo does it all the time. He spams when he's having a show.
And if anybody wants to join, if you're hearing this after the fact, just shoot a message in Discord, and we'll add you to the audio channel. All right, so I posted it there, so I'll go ahead and I'll copy and paste the same thing but I'll put here on the Mintcast Discord.
Yeah, probably a good plan. Why is this telling me there's a new it's telling me there's a new one, but I'm reading it. New message. There we go. Now it's gone.
All right.
Gotta love Discord.
By using at here, you are about to message 35 plus. There's 35 people here right now.
Where?
On Mintcast, there are 35 people online right now.
Oh wow.
That is wild. Hey, I'm gonna do it. It gave me a warning, and
Yeah, it always does.
I'm sorry I spammed you guys. I didn't realize there was so many. 35 people.
No,
Holy cow.
we came to the conclusion that it was okay to use at here. I was talking to the guys there, and they said it was fine, just as long as you don't use at everyone all the time.
Yeah, but I think when we do it on like a Friday night, it's like 5 or 6 people. Like on Monday.
Usually,
night.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Hey,
Apparently Monday.
somebody's
got to
get their podcast fixed, right?
That's when people are online, man. Holy cow! All right. Whoa. Can you hear me? I can no longer hear me. You can still hear me?
What? Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I just got it. That was weird.
Huh.
My headphones dropped out for a second.
That was weird. Fedora's crap.
I know. There we go. I had a honeymoon all week. You messed it up right before the show, Fedora. You messed it up.
I even did an update before the show, and I'm fine. Come on.
Oh yes, that's the thing. Is I'm scared to update this thing. I've not run any updates, except for the initial update whenever I installed it.
This is the third time I've updated right before a show, and it's fine. So I think you'll be all right. Just don't do it right now.
I'm gonna go ahead and post to a few other Discords too while we're at it, since we're kind of
all right. Cool.
Post to another podcast, and let's see, where else can I post? I can post to my D&D group. They're not going to care though. None of them use Linux.
What is this Linux thing you're talking about?
Does it give me better rolls?
Does it give me better rolls? It might. Yeah, it might be more accurate.
All right, we got everything rolling. All right, my Discord no longer has minimize.
Oh yeah, Fedora. You have to get GNOME tweaks and bring it back.
GNOME tweaks. All right. I'm ready if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. We're ready. Hello and welcome to Crowbar Kernel Panic, the podcast at the intersection of Linux and gaming. This is episode 31, although I didn't change it in the show notes. That throw us all off there. We are live streaming at Crowbar Kernel Panic on YouTube. You can send us an email at crowbarkernelpanic@pm.me. I also added a We have a new website. I didn't even put that in the show notes.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
We've done a lot of changes this in the last
Yeah, we have.
3 days. We've made a lot of changes.
We should just not mention any of it.
crowbarkernelpanic.com will take you to the new website where we actually have a contact form on the website. It's a comment form, but I'll check those on a regular basis. Matter of fact, I'll check it while we're doing the YouTube comments to see if anybody left us anything new. So you can get in touch with us there or send us an email. You can also find us on Discord, which we finally made a new Discord. I know that we promised that it was going to be our 200 subscriber mark and, all that jazz. We just wanted to do it. Just do it, get it out of the way.
Yep.
We'll front load that promise there to you. So please like, subscribe to the podcast.
It's a promise that's already happened.
It's already happened. Now they got to make good on getting us to 200 subscribers. We got to get 200 subs.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we have that there, and we've already got some really cool people in there. I think we're going to have a pretty good community there as it grows. It seems like people are good about talking to each other. A lot of times I join Discord groups and then I just sit there quietly because I feel like these guys kind of already have their club and I don't really know how to jump into it. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah, I totally know what you mean there.
So we need an icebreaker question. Whenever we see new people join the Discord, we need a favorite cereal or something. We need some kind of icebreaker.
What is your name? What is your quest?
The Holy Grail. Is that what you're referencing?
What is the wind speed velocity of a unladen swallow?
Exactly, yeah. We'll ask the 3 questions. But yeah, so leave a link to that in the show notes so you can join the Discord. We would love to have you there. This week, I will not forget to do the YouTube comments. So I'm going to pull them up right now.
He's already got them up, so it's all good.
They're already up. I'm totally not buying for time.
Literally
right
can't forget.
I'm 100% not postponing until this link loads. I already had them
what
up.
Link? I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Prepared.
I can clearly see it in your glasses reflection. It was already there.
All right. So these are some old comments because I've forgotten them for about 2 months now.
Oh wow, I didn't know they were that old.
Yeah, either that or I'm reading.
Again, I need to be better at that too, because
I could be reading
annoying.
them. I could be reading them again, because they don't go away until I respond, and I usually intentionally don't respond until I read them, so that way I can I can remember where they are.
Keep them in the queue, yeah.
Right. So
got it.
We have an Ancient 24 who's also in the Discord now. He said this was almost 2 months ago, and it was in our video where we discussed Stray.
Okay.
He said, he was talking about whenever in that episode, I was talking about learning Unity. Man, it's only been 2 months since I started working on the Unity thing.
Yeah, dude.
That's pretty wild. I feel like
he's like, I already have a game made.
Yeah, I've already got 3 games made. I'm starting a company. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even have the first game. I don't even have the first level made, but I've been learning a lot. He says, man, that takes me back. I did a Unity game for my bachelor's degree. It's pretty intuitive. Yes, I think it is pretty intuitive. And I think a good first choice. Something like Godot, which we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what Godot was. I probably would have tried Godot first. But yeah, I didn't even know it existed until recently. And I've also recently been looking at Unreal Engine. And I knew that Unreal Engine existed, but my interpretation was that's the more professional, you kind of need to know what you're doing to get into it.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, to me, it gives that impression. I've recently been watching videos on it, and I don't know that the barrier to entry is as high as I thought it was. It is more advanced than Unity for sure, but I think it may be more intuitive than I originally thought. So I don't know if I regret jumping on Unity first, but I kind of wonder if I had tried to learn Unreal, if I would have made as much progress in the last 2 months on Unreal as I did on Unity, would that be more valuable in the long run, So I don't know.
Yeah.
But he says, but Unity does have a great forum. with Unity answers and lots of video tutorials. Yep, that's very true. For the MMO-ish type camera, I think I forgot I was trying to make an MMO when I first started talking about this.
Oh right, yeah.
I think if you look for orbit cameras for Unity, you might find something. For FPS, similar. That is one great thing I remember about Unity is being able to ask in gaming terms about something and get answers that point you towards the more programming and math focused topics.
Mm,
And you keep learning from there. Yeah, that's very true. I didn't know what
right.
like ray casting was. I didn't know like the only way I could describe a problem I was trying to solve in Unity was if I expressed it in a way that was like, okay, whenever you're playing a video game and you're looking at something and then
Right.
like that was like I didn't know what like a lot of these terms were that like
Or it's like when a shadow like flickers or something like that.
yeah.
You have to say that, and then it's like, oh, it's actually the lighting behind the shadow. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's very. I think maybe that's why maybe I did make the right choice then because I think it is true that it's very noob friendly. And another thing in the last episode I was talking about I said in the last episode I said there was somebody that sent me a message and I can't remember who it was. This was the message I was referring to. So
Okay.
it was
Okay.
Ancient. So whenever I have Unity questions, I'm going to post them to you, Ancient, and you're on the hook. You're
You are
obligated.
now the Unity guru.
Right.
You know it all.
Because you did it once, that means you know everything, and I will ask you every question from now on. We have 1K words. This was also 2 months ago. This is on our episode 26 on the Nabarro project and the Stanley Parable. That was the episode where we reviewed Nabarro project, which is a great project. I've been seeing that they have been getting more posts recently. I saw an article the other day about Navarro Project. I think back when we were talking about them, it was still like a you install Fedora and
Yeah.
then run these commands kind of thing.
It literally they just got the ISO out when we started talk about it. Like literally like that either that week or that day.
Yeah, I think
It was pretty darn close.
Yeah. I was really happy to hear you talk about our little comment exchange. I don't remember it. Sorry, 1K word. I mean, I'm sure it meant a lot to me. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I don't remember the exchange. I was listening to this while installing Nabarra on my new Legion 5. Wow.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Pretty cool. I bet it'll run great on there.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Robert Rush said, awesome video, funny stuff. This was on our Fedora 34 review. So,
Nice.
Robert, maybe you'll catch the Fedora 37 review. Maybe it will be as funny. Who knows? And then we got another comment from Ancient. This one I've had to have read this one before. This one was from 4 months ago. So, although it's a funny comment, instead of a crowbar, I'd imagine he'd come stab you since Gabe rather famously owns a lot of knives.
No, you never read that one. That's pretty good.
So
yeah, because that's what we were talking about when he would come up to you at the door, like with the Steam Deck or whatever, right?
Right. Yeah, I was gonna see if you remembered what the hell we were talking about.
I do. I remember that. That was definitely memorable.
Yeah. The there was reports of Gabe Newell like hand delivering Steam Decks to people, which I saw another post about Gabe the other day that was like, it said something about billionaires. It was like a list of billionaires that nobody hates or something like that, and it was like he was like the only person on the list.
The only one.
Although I don't know that's true because people hate the fact that we never got a Half-Life 3.
Ooh, that's true. That's true.
But we did get Alex, which nobody plays because no one owns a freaking VR headset.
Yeah. Because no one can afford him.
Dude, I would love to play that game, but I'm not going to buy a VR headset just for one game.
Just for that game. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know, I have long a few times now I've said that I would buy a PlayStation 5 just to play Silent Hill 2, but I don't know if I'll buy a VR because I know that the truth is that I would buy a PlayStation 5 and I would play other games. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Sure, I might buy it for the purpose of playing Silent Hill 2, but I would play other things. Versus getting a VR headset, what am I going to use that for other than this one game? Like, I don't see myself as the VR headset type.
Not yet, because it's not there for me either. I've tried it a couple times, but
I
it's
don't think it
just
ever would be there. I don't think
you don't think so.
I don't play video games because I want to trick myself into believing that I'm in this like other world. Like I think people
Oh, okay. I
envision.
see what I
Yeah,
see what you're
I
doing.
play video
Yeah,
games because
yeah.
I want to sit back after a long day at work and I want to relax and I want to play something that's gonna get my
Have some
mind
sort of
off of.
accomplishment and
Right.
like yeah.
I'm not like, oh man, I want to get so into Call of Duty that I want like a chest that's gonna vibrate when I get shot and stuff. Like I'm not
Oh man,
trying to like
that's
fully submerge myself in these games. So
yeah.
I don't know that I would ever be the VR type. I feel like it's basically for like whenever you want to show your family this neat trick that you can do with your computer. Like that's
Yeah.
like really all it's good for. I don't feel like it's I don't know. I don't feel like it's an actual gaming device. If anybody out there has a VR headset and they just love it and it has just changed their experience with gaming forever, they never truly gamed until they had a VR headset. I want to hear from you and I want to know if you've played Half-Life Alex and is it any good. Um all right, so I'll check real quick to see if we had any comments on the website. I doubt that we did. Um I'm not logged in. I doubt there was any. I doubt that was any. So I'll just move on. We got a Oh, Rodrigo left a pretty cool message in the Discord. I thought I would talk about that because I think it's pretty interesting concept.
Is Tempest?
There's a game being released called Tempest Rising that is not Command and Conquer. So this game is being released as an RTS. If you watch, I have a video in the show notes. If you watch the video and you've played Command and Conquer, it will look very familiar to you. It is very similar, although it is different. It's not a continuation of the story. It's a different story. But the factions and the design of the game is so similar. I mean, it's like Boring Company's not a flamethrower. It's like this is
Right.
this
Yeah.
is not Command and Conquer. It's a completely different game that will always be compared to Command and Conquer in every sentence.
Has nothing to do with Command and Conquer, but yet everything to do with Command and Conquer.
But I think if you're a Command and Conquer fan, like this is probably a really cool game to pick up. I remember playing Command and Conquer, but I was never really like a huge fan of it. So I can't do justice talking about this story, but when Rodrigo posted it and Leo was really into it, they knew the different factions and like how it compared to the other.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so they had a pretty cool conversation about it. And I think if you are a Command and Conquer fan, check out the link that we have in the show notes from Rodrigo because this was a really cool post. It reminded me of another game that I'm planning on playing on stream here pretty soon. It's called Undetected, and I didn't leave you a link or anything in the show notes, so I'm sorry about that. You can't actually see it beforehand, but it's
No, it's all good. I see it here in the Discord chat. I'm searching.
Oh, okay, yeah. So if Tempest Rising is totally not Command and Conquer, Undetected is totally not Metal Gear Solid. It's a game that is like
Oh wow, yeah.
It's really unique though. He has taken that genre and like the sneaking mission adventure game, and he has kind of added to it. He has a lot of extra like ammunition and guns that are not in.
Yeah,
the
I kind of
original
see it.
Metal Gear.
It looks very very much the same, but very different at the same time.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. And you can tell in both cases. The reason why I think these two games are similar is because in both cases you can tell that they are trying to do something new with the genre, but yet you can see that they are also trying to also do that thing. You know what I mean? Like they're also trying to pay homage to that and do that. I thought it was really cleverly done. So I haven't played it yet. There's a free demo for Undetected, and I downloaded it. I haven't even launched it yet. I don't even know if it's going to work on Linux, but I find it highly likely that it probably will these days. But I'm going to try to do a live stream of that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
All right, so that's all the comments. You ready to get into some news?
Yeah, news time.
All right. I'm gonna hit record on my OBS just in case because I see the stream is like dropping or something.
Weird.
So at least we'll have the last half of the episode if the stream fails. So, could Cam replace So Dim? I don't know if you've seen this article, but Dell
Yeah, I did look
recently.
it up.
So there is this new technology by Dell. It is
Of course.
new type of RAM, and it currently exists in only one laptop. But you can go buy this laptop now. It's a retail sold laptop on the shelves right now.
Actually, to be honest, I think I've actually seen and handled one of these laptops because
really?
at work that's some of sometimes they order precisions, and I'm
Gotcha.
pretty sure I've handled that one. I didn't crack it open obviously because
So
it's
here's the
brand
thing.
new,
I
but
don't know if you guys normally replace RAM there or upgrade RAM. I know that's a common
we do
thing.
sometimes.
Yeah. So you're going to have to figure out how to stock this new kind of RAM, if so, or order it on a case by case basis. But this is it's a completely different. It's a completely different. Like
Yeah.
SODIMM has been around for like 20 years, and
Yep.
if you've ever replaced the RAM in your laptop, you know exactly what we're talking about. It's like the mini versions of the desktop RAM sticks. You know the
Yep.
little
You just
fat
pull
guys.
two little clips up and it pops up.
Yeah, but they stack. So the dilemma that Dell identified and was trying to solve is they have to stack on top of each other. You can only
Yep.
fit so much on one stick, so they're having to even as RAM technology advances, they're almost always having to send out two sticks, and so they're going to have to stack on top of each other. And
Right.
also in that stacking mechanism, there's so many pins on the
Yep.
RAM itself that has to then be routed to the CPU. That
Yep.
path gets longer, and
Yep.
so
And then
they're
you got two
trying.
separate paths too. One is a little longer than the other, so
Right.
you have to
Yeah.
account for that too.
Yeah. So they're trying to solve this problem by this so-called CAM, compression attached memory module, CAMM.
Hmm.
And this is it's like one big flat stick of RAM. They say they can
Yeah.
fit more on one stick. I say stick. It's not really stick shaped. They're like little squares.
Yeah.
They
With
can
with screws in them actually.
Yeah, so they screw onto the board, and if you were to, so I'll find the video and post it in the show notes. But I watched a video earlier today. If you were to take this off, underneath, it kind of looks like teeth on a CPU.
Okay.
There's like little teeth that then relate to like like their corresponding little space on the
Right.
motherboard, and it's right by the processor. So that's like one selling point is that they can make laptops slimmer because all of this is on one chip and they don't have to stack
Impressed.
it.
Yep.
And then also the other selling point is that they can put it right beside the CPU and literally like like a little
Yeah. In this
small
picture,
gap
it looks
between
like
the
it's
two.
it's literally
It's butted
almost
against.
touching
Yeah.
the CPU, other than the heatsink.
Right. So they believe they're solving two problems by doing this: the thickness and that throughput. That throughput
Is it
issue.
really a problem?
I don't know. I was wondering about that too because to me it seems like we're traveling at the speed of light here. You know what I mean? Like what's
Yeah.
the difference there? But to the very intelligent people that designed this, apparently it is a pretty dramatic difference. I don't know.
I mean, you're talking about a precision here. That thing is like, an inch thick.
Yeah, I know. I thought that too. Like the first laptop that they used to like premiere this whole thing is like it's not super thin. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like it's. I thought the same thing. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but apparently this will allow them in the future to have even slimmer and slimmer. And whenever they first announced this, there was some fear that this was going to be like a Dell specific thing.
Right.
But they are opening it up to other vendors. They've released
They're gonna license it. Yeah.
yeah, like their spec sheet and licensing so that other people can make these now. I think it will only be relevant, or at least for now, it probably will only be relevant in laptops.
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely. I see that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that we're gonna get like DDR6 or 7 or whatever is gonna be on cam. Um, but at least for laptops, it could help make things thinner.
Right.
Another interesting thing is like whenever you take the RAM off. So that was another thing people were worried about was, well, how is this going to be like whenever Apple did the thing where they had the Mac Mini that the RAM was like soldered into the machine, like you couldn't replace
Right.
RAM, and they only did it because they didn't want people to be able to upgrade. Like it was
Right.
like that was like the
Yeah.
whole reason. Um, there was some worry of this sort of thing, but again, I'll put it in the show notes. But there's a video of somebody actually changing out the RAM, and it is it's as easy as changing. Like maybe it's a step above because it has screws. You can't just do the little
Right.
clips.
You have to have a tool. Before you didn't have to have a tool. Now you have to have some
But
sort of tool.
that's the only barrier to entry is a Phillips
Right.
head screwdriver. Like anybody can do this. If you were going to change your RAM in your laptop, this is not going to stop you. Um, so I don't know. Interesting. I'm not really like into like. I honestly barely use my laptop. I have a relatively nice. It's kind of old now, but I have a relatively nice, especially at the time I bought it, laptop that I. It sits. It's running Nabarro from back whenever we did that review we just talked about. I've not, and it has the default wallpaper. I haven't even changed the wallpaper.
Oh man.
It literally just plays Netflix. I open it and play Netflix. That's all I ever do with it.
But it's still working.
Oh yeah, it works great.
That's the key.
It works great. But like I'm just not a big laptop. You've got a gaming laptop.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you,
I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I feel like I should have waited and just got a GPU when the GPU prices came down. But at the time, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get a laptop, gaming laptop, see how that goes.
yeah.
My wife has one. It's not a high end one, but um, I figured I might as well try it. So I got this one. That's pretty much why I got it. But yeah,
You think there'll ever be a future where you're putting cam in your gaming laptop? Do you think you think it'll catch on
I
to that?
doubt it.
I don't know.
I
Touch
think
that.
DDR is going to be
Everybody,
e-
everybody, write this down. Come back in 5 years and tell us if we were right or wrong.
yeah, no,
Um,
I think SODIMM is going to be around for a long time yet.
um, I got a few updates on. I don't have a specific article about this, but today I've been listening to a lot of podcasts discussing it, and a lot more. I don't know that Nvidia has. What I was listening to, I don't believe was an official Nvidia response or anything, but
Right.
I've learned more about the 12-volt high power, which is the name of the adapter that was causing the problem that we discussed last week with Nvidia cards, burning everybody's houses down and lighting the city on fire. You heard about the fires of Chicago? Nvidia 4090 is what it was. I know a little bit more about that situation now, and it's there's been a lot of there was a few YouTubers. I know that Jay's 2 Cents did one, but there was a
Yeah.
few
Yep.
YouTubers that basically intentionally tried their hardest to get one of these things to catch on fire. And in some cases they were successful, but only like in extreme circumstances.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it seems like the finding flaw, the like what they've actually found, is that if the plug of the adapter is not fully seated, if it's out even by just a few centimeters,
Right.
um, it could possibly like have like a arcing and heat up and cause the wires to melt. That's likely what happened. And
Right. Right.
the question that I have is this user error or is this a design flaw? Because I mean, part of the reason this is happening is because these gigantic cards people are trying to cram inside their mid tower, and in some cases they're having to like
Yeah.
finagle the
Yep.
plug in a certain way, otherwise their
Yep.
side won't fit on. Um, there's
Yeah.
I've never held a 30 series graphics card, much less a 40 series, but from what I've seen online, in some cases, um, you don't even really get like a snap when you push it all the way in, so you're not really
Right.
confident that you have it pushed in all the way. I mean, I kind of feel like these are problems that I feel like Nvidia is somewhat responsible for the design of this. Like I realize that
Yeah.
like it is user error, but like
Right.
there's a reason why your 6-pin plugging into your motherboard only fits like one way. It's because
Right.
they know that people are going to mess it up, and so they make it as hard as they can to mess
Yep.
up. And this sounds like
People
a
still
case of
mess it up.
people still. Oh yeah, people will still mess it up, no matter how. No matter how. Well, that may be a point in their favor actually, because yeah, no matter what they do, people will still possibly mess it up. So like, how
Yep.
responsible are they really in this scenario? And I don't know the answer, but I think it's an interesting.
Um,
I think it's an
I
interesting
think
dilemma.
I think they're probably responsibility. I think no matter what, they should always have a design that's safe, no matter what.
Yeah,
But if you can't guarantee the safety 100%, then most of the time it's going to be the user error at that point, because like if they can't find a design that's going to latch it in a certain way and be all the way latched in, like have a double latching system or whatever they need to do, if they can't figure that out, then the user has to be aware that they're not that they need to, put it in this certain way to get it to latch correctly. I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know how else to say that.
It was Igor's Labs, by the way, that
Of course, it's always
most
Igor's Labs.
most everybody is basing their most. I've never looked at this site before
Oh,
looking
he
at
gets the first like of everything. Like I don't know what if he's like inside Nvidia or what, but he's crazy,
that's
or
what most
she, or
people
whoever
are.
it may be.
That's what most people are basing their things on. Since I mentioned Jay, I figured I might as well give him
Yeah,
credit too, since he was the originator. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. I mean, I think it's a product of just trying to move like way too fast. Like, I
yeah,
mean, it just seems like every year these graphics cards just absorb more power, they get larger, they produce more heat, they go a
yep.
little bit faster, and
A
you
little
know,
bit faster. Yeah.
I mean, the new 4090 has like an absurd amount of RAM. Let me see what the RAM was on it. I saw a rumor that it was going to have a certain amount, but then whenever it actually came out, it didn't have.
Yeah, well, they also rumored that it was going to be 800 watts, and then they found out that it was like 400 and some, and now I think it's even less than that now.
So, um, yeah, I just think they're trying to move way too fast. Like, and
To
it's
be honest, I think they intentionally shot themselves in the foot this time, because they want to get rid of the 30 series, and they just really just need to not have people buy the 40 series yet and get that stock of the 30 series out.
yeah, yeah. I know you're absolutely right. I think so. Cell phones. I liken it to so like cell phones came out and it was like every year there was like huge improvements, right?
Yep, at first.
And it
Yep.
seemed worthwhile to get like, oh, I can get a better camera, I can get a better, my phone can play music, my phone can do, and then but then at a certain point it was like,
My phone doesn't stutter when I switch screens.
yeah, I mean, at a certain point it got to be like, okay, my phone does everything I need it to do,
Yep.
and the improvements are like we've hit the curve now where like it's leveling off. Like there's no like
So,
huge advancements
right.
that they can do. And so I think the in the graphics card world is they did a similar thing. Is like there was like year over year there was more and more advances, and
Yep.
it became more and more like better, more and more of a better investment that you buy a new graphics card because they were that much better than the previous years. But like
Right.
now, it's just like, oh, they're just adding more RAM, and like there's
Yeah.
in order to do that, they have to make them bigger and absorb more power. And
Yep.
I just think that's like happening too fast.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's like the phones too getting to the point where they were like tablet sized. Then they backed off a little bit. Now
Yeah,
they're creeping back up to tablet size again.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
like
when was the last time you got excited about a new phone? Like, I don't feel like I ever get excited about a new phone anymore because I know that just whatever I get, I'll get it at whatever price point I think is right, and it's going to be a fantastic phone because,
I mean,
that's
personally,
just
I do like my Pixel,
yeah.
but
I have
like
a Pixel too.
if
I have
I had, well, I had
a
a
Pixel
Pixel
as
One,
well. Yeah.
right? Pixel, yeah. I
Yep.
had a Pixel, original Pixel, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and I went to the 6 from that. So that was a huge jump for
Oh
me.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I had the 5 or whatever, I wouldn't have bought the 6 because I was like,
Yeah.
why? Even if I had the 4, why would I buy the 6?
I don't know. I hope that ramble made sense, but I just I don't know how to. There's
Yeah, no,
definitely
no, that totally makes sense. Yeah, it's like there's really not a real reason to upgrade every single year, and because of the little gains that they're getting year over year.
yeah, and there are gains for sure.
Right, there are
There's
gains. There's
more
always
than just
gains.
there's more than just more RAM, but it just seems like it's getting smaller and smaller. But yet the
Uh-huh.
cards get larger and larger,
Yeah, and way more expensive.
and more likely to blow up because they can't
More
fit.
likely.
You're having to turn it sideways and still plug it into a PCI Express slot in your computer
Pour some
somehow.
water on it and maybe it'll cool it down so it doesn't catch fire. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm thinking about getting into liquid cooling again. By the way,
Really?
so I
Really?
so
Ooh, this sounds intriguing.
yeah, I was down the rabbit hole last night, boy.
Oh boy.
I was
Oh
looking at
boy.
all different. I looked up. So I used to buy Coolant's products. Looks like they put out
Okay.
a lot less these days than they used to. I don't know if that's like an old school name brand or if they're still.
I don't even know that brand.
It's that was when I built my first computer. That was like the hotness. You get some Coolant's, get a Coolant's water block. You were the coolest kid on the block, on the block. Um, but I so right now I have a all in one. I have an all in one liquid cooling, and I used to have my old Coolant's kit. I had moved from computer to computer. I had the graphics
Right.
card water blocks, and they would still match. When I would upgrade my graphics cards, guess guess what? They'd still match my graphics cards because graphics cards were not 2 foot by 2 foot.
Yeah.
They were still a reasonable size. And I eventually moved it to my wife's computer, and this was a story I told way back when on Mintcast, where we had a leak. We had friends over for game night, like Dungeons and Dragons style game night, and then all of a sudden we all start smelling this like electronic burning smell,
Oh no.
and it turned out that the liquid cooling had leaked and ran out, and the CPU was just sitting there cooking, like just sitting there like
Oh.
burning up, and
Oh.
so yeah, bye bye my wife's gaming computer. You don't mix plumbing and computers, Dell says. Yeah, I know, I know, I know. So I used to always say like it happens so rare, it's so uncommon, like it's nothing to be scared of. But then it literally happened to me. It literally happened to me eventually. But I have to say, Dale, like it took a really long time. I had many liquid cooled systems, and it was like a system that I had not changed the fluid in, and it had been off for like a really long time. There was probably all kinds of fungus growing in there. There's no telling.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
telling what
You know
happened.
what? I bet you I know exactly what happened. The algae and stuff got growing in there. It
Hmm.
clogged up a pipe, but it didn't clog up the one that was the outlet, and the outlet gave out too much pressure and it blew out a hose.
Yep. Yep. No, I think that's
That's why
probably
I
what
always
happened.
crimp all my hoses when I water cool because for that reason I'm too afraid that it's going to come out, because they have the ribbed,
Yeah.
hose clamps
So
and
so do you have a liquid cooled system now that's kind of
not
all in one,
right
or
now. Not right
okay?
now.
Okay.
I have air cool.
We should do this journey together then.
I know,
We should
dude.
do it
Oh
together.
man, I used to be like liquid cooling master. Like I had everything liquid cooled. Um, well, other than like my motherboard, because that was like an outrageous amount of money to buy that back in the day.
Oh yeah, I've never done
Liquid
the
cooled motherboard
I've
was
never done the
crazy.
motherboard itself. Yeah.
And that's just aesthetics. No one needs to water cool their motherboard. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
that's that's crazy.
Yeah, it
But
really is.
yeah. I mean, I've never had a leak, but I've spilt water like while I'm trying to fill the pump up
Oh, me every
onto
time.
my
Every time.
yeah,
Yeah.
every time. It doesn't matter how much you
I
try not
I
to.
honestly think even in the case of my wife's computer, it was not the water falling on the motherboard that caused it.
The
It
heat of
was
the
the
CPU
heat
just
of the
cooking.
right, exactly. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
I'm sure that
The
if
thermal
I
paste just totally getting.
oh, you know what I did with that? I gave that computer to Scott, um, a friend of mine that I've done other podcasts with. I
He
gave
doesn't
that.
know about this story though.
No, I had to replace the CPU. I had to replace the CPU,
Okay.
but I just ordered the same CPU again, and I ended up giving it to him, so he could have something reliable to podcast with. And my wife was like never using it. My wife has a computer right now that she never uses. She always like wants a computer and then never uses it. Um, so anyway, I'll talk about that more whenever we get into the AM4 versus AM5
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
because that's why I'm looking into liquid cooling again. All right, we got one more news item. Oh, this was really exciting. Someone posted this in the Discord. It might have been Dale
I
actually.
think it was Dale. I think it was Dale.
Um,
He posted it.
Linux 6.2 will no longer treat Intel Arc graphics as experimental. This is according to Phoronix. So, if you were using, first of all, if you were using an Arc GPU, then congratulations. I'm
Yeah,
really, I'm
you
really
got one.
envious. I'm really
You're
envious
on
of
the
you.
in crowd.
But if you were and you were using kernel, so you had to use kernel 6.0.
Yep.
Actually, I've heard that's not true. There's a great video on this
Oh,
subject.
really?
I will put it in the show notes. I watched the video, but I wouldn't do it justice trying to repeat it right now. So I'll put it in the show notes. But you could use it on older than 6.0. They just weren't considering it like peak performance or like their
Okay.
standardized
Right.
performance or whatever until
Just good
6.0.
enough to get it going, kind of like the Nouveau driver with the NVIDIA.
Yeah, maybe. So on 6.0 and 6.1, you could use in the Mesa drivers, you could use the Arc graphics support, but it was considered experimental. And so
Right.
you had to put in a special flag, I915.force underscore probe equals module. And this basically is saying, like, hey, Mesa, I know what I'm doing. It's cool. Just go ahead and use experimental, drivers. We
Right.
we we know
Yeah.
it's not supported. But in 6.2 and explicitly on Mesa 22.2 and preferably even 22.3 is going to be even
Okay.
better support.
Right.
Um, it's no longer considered experimental. You no longer need to do that special flag to tell it to use your GPU anyway. It will just be part of the 6.2 kernel as considered a supported card.
Okay.
And
That's cool though.
also in Phoronix, they have done some testing with this card, which nobody does better like Linux graphics
No.
cards or anything testing than Phoronix.
Yeah.
They're easily the only one I look at. I mean, they're really good. Um, they are giving pretty good scores to these art cards. Like I made the decision that I'm not going to buy a graphics card right now. Last week I was
Right.
all gung ho on it because I had just paid my credit card off. Black Friday's coming up. All the graphics cards announcements were coming out, but I think I'm gonna hold off and try to get one of these Intel cards.
Okay. Cool.
But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a few months, not because I'm worried
Yeah.
about them like I was last week. I'm feeling more and more comfortable with it. I really feel like this could be like within the Linux gaming community. We could really, this might be like an iconic card for all. Like I think this could
Hmm.
grow into something really good.
Hmm.
Um, if it continues at the rate that it is, I have a lot of
Right.
faith. And maybe I am just maybe I'm just deep in the Kool-Aid.
You're on the hype
Uh,
train.
I'm on. I might be riding that hype train, but I'm rooting for it, baby. I really want to get one of these, and I think in probably about 4 months, I'm gonna try to get one if I
I
can.
thought you were gonna say you get one and then in 4 months you regret it.
No, I mean so right now, let me see if I can find one right now. There's one that I saw floating around Amazon. It was I think it was like a reseller though. You know how you don't have to be like a anybody can sell on Amazon.
Oh, it's the Intel Arc with a K. Right, right.
Let's see if it's still up here. I saw one up here that was like a reseller or something because it was way more. It was way more than I don't even see it now. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So Right now, there are 8 left in stock. Who's this sold by? Uh, I'll guarantee you it ain't sold by Intel.
Oh, what
Uh,
makes you say that?
but right now it's $600 for the A770,
Wow.
which is
Wow.
what, $200 above MSRP. But even at $200 above at 200, almost $300 over MSRP, even at that, that's so cheap compared to like
Yeah,
every other graphics card right now. It's
I
insane.
know.
Um, oh, but you can get the 750. Anyway, I'm going down this. I'm going down this track. Yeah, I think it's. I think it could be a good buy. So let's talk about AM4 versus AM5, and then we can talk about what I did spend my credit card on. I went ahead and picked up an AM5 uh, CPU. It's on its way. It'll probably get here tomorrow.
Nice. Dude, that's
And
so cool.
dude, it's the biggest. It is the most. It will be the most expensive computer part I've ever bought.
Wow. Oh
Because
man.
I've always bought stuff so far behind the scale,
The
like
curve, yeah.
yeah, behind the curve. Um, but I had to get a new motherboard and the AM5, and I'm gonna have to get new RAM, and
Right, because
then
you need DDR5, right?
right, and there's this whole dilemma um about the CPU coolers. So
Right.
AM4 forever has used like they've been on AM4 for so long now that
Mm-hmm.
you could just buy new CPUs and use the same motherboard for like a really long time. I think
Yeah.
there's even cases where like if your motherboard may have been so old that it wouldn't support your newest AM4 chip without some sort of BIOS upgrade or something because it just
Yep.
had been so long since you got a new motherboard. And AM5 is going to change things up because the bracket is actually a little bit different. Um,
Hmm.
it's not as different as you might think. PC Master Race, we're not worthy, Dell says. I'm trying to find my order history so I can tell you the exact. Um, the bracket is slightly different, but specifically, it's the back bracket. So I got the
Okay.
I got the
Okay.
Ryzen 7 7700X, um, and that's the AM5 card. But the motherboard I had to get with it. So the reason I got it was actually the motherboard. The motherboard was on a Black Friday sale on Newegg, and um, buying it together, I got like an extra $100 off. But even still, I mean, my total was close to $600, which I mean, in the past, I've built
Wow.
entire computers for $600.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it was the Asus TUF Gaming X670 is the
Okay.
motherboard that I got, and
All right.
it's got Wi-Fi 6, which I don't know if
Ooh,
I'm
that's
going to
nice.
use. I might use it because I do have Wi-Fi 6. I have a Wi-Fi 6 router, and technically right now, I'm using Wi-Fi 6 because I have a Wi-Fi 6 access point upstairs that plugs directly into my computer. I don't actually have a hard line from my computer to the router.
Right.
It hard lines into the access point, and so I may be able to use the access point on another device like the Xbox. Um, it takes forever to download games on that thing, and if I were to put the access point just on the other side of this wall, if I put the access point right there, plug the Xbox into that, they would download fast, and I could use Wi-Fi 6 on the desktop. So I'm
Yeah.
considering doing that, but it also just feels weird having a gaming desktop that's on Wi-Fi. I know it's Wi-Fi 6, but I don't know. It still just feels like I don't trust it. We're gonna use a toaster or something, and it's gonna mess everything up.
Yeah. Or your car, you plug it in.
Yeah, I know that seemed to be happening for a while. Um, so uh, so yeah, there's a lot of fishy stuff going on with this AM5. The difference
Yeah.
there. So whenever I bought the AM5 CPU, I was recommended a AM5 CPU cooler,
Mm.
and that's whenever it dawned on me, oh, I might not be able to use the same cooler that I did before, and so I started looking into it, and even the one I was recommended didn't list AM5
Oh,
in
gee.
so I was like, I don't want to buy this if it doesn't say AM5.
Just use zip ties.
Hey, you laugh. I've
I
had
no
I
no. I've
probably
actually.
Yeah, I probably got pictures I could post in the Discord. I
I
had a system where I used zip ties to cool
Yep.
my graphics card one time.
Oh man.
Water
So
cool my graphics card.
I lost the bracket for my in-laws computer. I was building them but out of my old parts, and I just zip tied the CPU cooler to the CPU right through the whole thing, all the way around the
Hey,
motherboard.
I will tell you a secret. Now this is more home theater than it was
Oh no.
PC, but when I worked at Geek Squad, uh,
Yeah.
we lived off of zip ties.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that.
It was a very common tool, especially in home theater, especially in home theaters. Uh, so so then I started looking at on Amazon for AM5 um, CPU coolers, and again, even things that would have AM5 in the title, when I would look at the spec sheet for them, they wouldn't list AM5.
That's so weird.
And so I started looking into, because I haven't seen this thing physically yet. It comes in tomorrow. I haven't seen this thing physically, so I don't know what the difference is until I watched a video of somebody showing, that you could use an AM4 CPU cooler on an AM5 CPU only in certain scenarios. So the
Of course.
difference is on the AM5 spec motherboards, the back plate on the back side of the motherboard
Mhm.
actually has 4 extra threaded screw holes that
Mhm.
the AM4 backplate didn't have. So,
Ah.
and the actual little, the little clip, like whenever you clamp down your
Yep.
CPU, that
Yep.
clamp screws into these holes in the backplate. Whereas on
Oh.
AM4, they didn't do that. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
if you have a CPU cooler, which I think my case is, it came with its own backplate. So, on my AM4 motherboard here, I took off the original backplate and put on. I have an NZXT
Right.
all-in-one liquid cooler, and I believe I haven't taken. This is just off my memory. Whenever the motherboard comes in, I'll take my computer apart and I'll look at it and I'll see if I can use it. But if you had to replace the backplate, then you cannot use your AM4 CPU cooler because
Right.
the backplate that came with your cooler is not going to have those 4 extra screw holes.
Right. Yep.
If you're using a AM4 CPU cooler that did not use a backplate, then more than likely it will work with your AM5
Hmm.
because it doesn't. It's just going to use the screw holes. The screw
Right, the
holes for the
normal ones,
mounting
yeah.
are the same. Yeah.
Right.
The difference is the screw holes for the little clip. I don't know what you call that. The little CPU like
Yeah.
encapsulation.
Yeah, because didn't they change from pins to
Yeah, it's like a
Intel's method?
LGA. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a
LGA. Yep,
yep.
land grid array. Yep, yep,
Right,
yep.
because whenever I saw LGA in the on the motherboard on Newegg, I was like, "Oh, I must have clicked on the wrong thing. Let me go back." And then,
Yeah, it's so ingrained in your mind that it's like Intel.
yeah, I thought that was something they made up. I didn't realize it was
Something they
yeah.
made up.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? This is the wrong one, and then I realized that I'm just a fool. Um, so yeah, so I I I I wanted I probably could have just gotten the newest AM4, whatever the newest one of that is, but I was just in a position right now where I could do it and it wasn't that big of a deal. So I just went ahead and pulled the trigger and bought it. But I really didn't realize until after the fact that okay, now I'm going to need new RAM.
Yep.
I got to figure out the cooling mechanism. Can I use my AM4 cooler? I don't know yet. Um, even if
Yeah,
I
nothing worse than getting everything apart and putting it back together and realizing you can't use your cooler.
right.
I've
Well,
done
right
that
now I don't
already.
even have RAM. I can't put it together tomorrow because I don't even have RAM yet.
Right.
And I didn't think of that. It was like it dawned on me after I'd made the purchase. I was like, oh, wait
Yeah,
a
because
minute.
how often do you have to think about that when you do an upgrade? Not that often.
Not
You
with
know, it's
AMD.
like
Not with AMD. Whenever I did Intel, it was almost every time. It was almost every
not with
time
RAM
you.
though. Usually RAM was the
Oh,
same
that's
for
true.
quite a
Yeah,
while.
it was like DDR2 forever, and then DDR4.
Yeah.
I feel like I only just recently went to DDR4, and then now I've got to figure out
Yeah.
DDR5. So yeah, I'm gonna get lots of pictures, and I think I'm going to actually try to get. on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, I'm gonna try to find a really cheap case.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm either gonna use so my NZXT case is still in good condition, but it was used when I bought it, and it had like a dent in it when I bought it.
Mm.
And so
Okay.
if I can find a better case, I'm sure I can. But if I can find a better case, and I'm willing to spend, I'm too cheap, guys. Um, then
Says the guy who just bought a brand new everything.
yeah. I'm gonna do a full build, is what I'm saying. I'm gonna do a full build. I'm gonna try to do like a video with it and everything. But I've got to get if I'm gonna do that, then I need to get all the parts. I can't like
Right,
replace
right,
what I
right.
have in my case. I'm gonna have to do a build all at once. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
make a video. But anyway, yeah. So
Oh, gee.
excited about that. DDR5 memory is stupid expensive. Yes, you're right. I have seen the best deal that I've seen so far is on Amazon, Newegg, and BestBuy.com. Those are all the places I have credit cards. They each have the Corsair DDR5 Corsair Vengeance RAM, and it's like right around $130, and that's for 32 gigs.
Right.
That's the best deal I've seen. It's quite a big jump from there. The next ones I see after that are over $200.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm a little nervous. Do I get the $130? I've always bought Corsair RAM. I'm not
Yeah, I was
nervous
gonna say
about
that
that
that's a pretty
brand.
decent brand.
But why are they
Yeah.
so much cheaper? I mean, it's some weird clock
Is the
speed.
speed different or anything?
It's 5,200 hertz. I don't know what to compare that to on the $200 RAM. But
RGB. That's what it is.
no, I refuse.
He
I
wants
cut it
his
off.
he wants his computer to be dark. If it's
No,
not pitch black in there,
I have lights. I have lights. No RGB lights. I use on my PC right now. I have all white lights. Oh no, I do. I do have some like purple, like neon lights. And I've had those since I had the very first. I had a lot of caffeine tonight. I'm sorry. I've had those since I had my first PC build. I've had these same lights. I should see what brand they are. But other than that, I have all white lights. And when it comes to RAM, I just always refuse to get the RGB because I feel like I don't know. There's a part of me that just feels like if it was good, if it was good RAM, they wouldn't need to put RGB on it to sell it. You know what I mean? I
oh
feel
man,
like
that's pretty funny.
I refuse. I refuse. All right.
Those you heard it here, folks. RGB RAM sucks.
I swear. I'm suspicious of it. I'm suspicious of it. All right, so Fedora 37. We put it in the title. Haven't talked about it yet. So
we do this every time.
yeah.
We put something in the title and we talk about it last.
So I did Fedora 37. You're already on Fedora 37. You were last week, right?
I've been on 37 since the beta started. I just went all in.
Oh
I'm
wow,
like,
okay.
I've tried the beta 36 and 37 now because 36 went so well. I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna upgrade. I went around their methods and did the upgrade, normally as they would want you to do it when it officially came out, but it was the
Yeah.
beta, so they don't really allow you to unless you go around their mechanisms.
I'm doing 37. I had issues on the one that they released that had Wayland and Pipewire 34, I think. I just immediately started having issues with my USB adapter for
Right, yeah, you were saying.
my USB audio interface.
Audio interface, yeah.
And I'll tell you what I have. It's not a cheap interface, but it's not meant to be an interface. I have the Zoom H something H4. It's a portable. My cord's not long enough for me to pick it up. It's a portable recording device, is what it is. And the
Okay.
reason I got it was because when I used to do the old podcast that I used to do, we would do it sometimes in a storage unit that didn't have power. And
Right.
so we chipped in together and bought this portable like device so that we could do mixing on the fly on battery power. Well,
Right.
it also has a USB feature where you can plug it in and use it as a USB interface, and then it runs off the power of USB. It doesn't use the batteries, and that's basically how I use it all the time. I never use it anymore for its portable feature. So it's actually a nice device, but it's kind of a recorder primary, and then a
Right.
USB interface secondary. Whereas like something like what you use is a USB device. That's its primary. That's what it
Right.
does. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I've just always, ever since Pipewire came out, I've had trouble with. So I would, if I ever turned on my USB interface while I was using my speakers,
Right.
it would just lose its mind. I basically would lose both functionality. When I would go up to the sound settings where it says your output device, it would just be
Yeah.
blank, and I couldn't pick.
Weird.
The drop down would be empty. There'd be nothing there. And then when I rebooted my computer, then it would come up and work. But
Right.
it would happen so frequently that I didn't trust using it for podcasts and things. And so
Right.
I would always revert back to Linux Mint or something that still had Pulse Audio. And but now Pipewire is on everything. It's becoming so
Yep.
reliable, and it's a good product. I'm not saying, I'm not naysaying it. It's just in my situation it was trouble.
Right.
I have
Yep.
not had that issue once on Fedora 37, and I've made zero changes or adjustments. I just installed
Yep.
Fedora 37, and it has worked the entire time. So much so that I've been trying to figure out why it works so well now and it did not before.
How can I break this? It's too easy.
So I was thinking that it was their new feature, Wire Plumber. I
Wire
thought
plumber.
I
Yep.
thought, oh well, maybe Wire Plumber is more stable than whatever Fedora was using in 34. But then I looked, Wire Plumber's been there all along. It's not like that's
Oh
new.
wow.
That's not new to
But
37.
they've been improving it. It's
Right.
not like it stayed static since then. They have been updating it. And to be honest, I think they're both technically not in like 1.0, you know.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know that not that that means anything cuz a lot of times 1.0, you know, it's just a number. But yeah, so that could be definitely it. They're just improving it as it goes.
I think that's what I've chalked it up to, because I can't seem to find anything that's changed otherwise. It's just
Right.
that I think that Pipewire's been out long enough now that it's better, because they are
Right.
constantly improving it, and they will constantly continue to improve it. And Wire Plumber's better. All of the different attachments and things that, because Pipewire has all sorts of different.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's got an
It's got
outs.
a little bit of everything.
Dude, it's got everything. And I think all that stuff has improved. But then also, I think, and this was kind of what I think NRD was alluding to in the Discord, was that I think also the
Mhm.
distributions are now better at implementing it, because they've had a few versions now to
Okay.
see how it works and adjust things. Um, he's such a smart guy that I don't even know that I don't even know that that's exactly what he was saying, but I'm sure he was right because he's a genius. Um,
No lie.
but yeah, so that's working perfectly, and that was the thing that kept me away before.
Right.
Was that I loved Fedora, and ever since you turned me on to Fedora, I never paid it any attention. And I started trying it out of your suggestion, and I really fell in love with it until Pipewire came along. And while I was rooting for that project, I I knew that it didn't work well with my USB interface, and I've not had that trouble. So I think we are moved past that. I'm scared. I'm scared it's going to happen any minute now, but so far it has been good.
As we're doing this segment, it just cuts out.
um, so I thought I would go through just a few applications that I installed. So uh, I switched to editing video on DaVinci Resolve. I used to use Adobe Premiere in Windows. I basically had a Windows
Right.
installation just for Adobe Premiere. I'm going to switch to Resolve. I've used Resolve in the past, so I'm not like unfamiliar with it, but
Right.
it just I find Premiere to be a little bit like more like cheat codey. Like, it's so easy to use Premiere, and it will do so many things for you automatically. But I
Right.
think a lot of that is available in Resolve. I just don't know how to do it. So
Okay.
I'm going to try to learn more and use that. I did run into a little bit of a hiccup on installing Resolve. Based on the forum posts I read, almost everybody does. This is not uncommon. Um, but the simple answer is, and I'm going to leave. I've got some links in the show notes to the steps that I followed.
Right.
But I had to install FFmpeg, which is understandable, and I had to
Yep.
install the NVIDIA CUDA drivers. And
Okay. Yeah, to get the NVIDIA like the processing.
Yeah, and I have a link with the exact ones that I installed to get it working.
Okay,
I
cool.
also installed Reaper. Um, I'm trying to use a more advanced audio editor
Now that's the
than
audio. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the
right.
audio editor.
Yeah, I've been using Reaper for years. I really like Reaper a lot. It's the band I used to play in, Nova Javelin on Spotify. If you're interested, songs are not Linux related, but the guy that recorded us, professionally, we paid this guy. He would always use Reaper, and he had all these fancy DAWs and stuff. And so I started trying to use it. It does some really cool. Um, it has some really cool like automation processes. You can kind
Mhm.
of set some things up to happen automatically every time you put in a certain kind of file. So
Oh, that's cool.
if you could get all that smoothed out to work exactly the same way every time, you could have a really nice like podcast editing
Yeah,
set up.
that sounds like it.
And I didn't have to do anything special there. I just downloaded the tar from their website and installed it. It was fine. No extra steps. Unity installed. I installed it via the DNF repo. Is it still repo? Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and I had to install OpenSSL 1.1 and OpenSSL libraries, and I also have a link to that in the show notes, which I thought was a little strange. But I guess it's because whenever you open Unity for the first time, it does like an authentication to link your account with the online account.
Oh,
And so I think
yeah.
that step fails if you don't have OpenSSL. But
Right.
I have a link to their instructions, like their website where they tell you how to install it. They say Red Hat, not Fedora, but
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, obviously it's the same. And they don't tell you to do this OpenSSL. I had to find that on a Fedora forum, so I put a link to that also.
Nice. Good detective work.
Yeah, so
I
I
always
put
like finding those things like just randomly. It's like, oh yeah, I figured it out, even though someone else
yeah.
figured it out. But you feel like you figured it
Well, the
out.
reason why I thought it was important to document that stuff is because, one, Fedora can be a little tricky because
Yeah.
most like applications target apt because they know that a lot of people are going to be using Ubuntu or something Ubuntu based.
Right. Yep.
And then second in line is kind of Fedora. Um, and so I have found as a recent Fedora user coming off of everything was Debian based that I used before or Arch based, I have found that sometimes there is like trickier kind of installation paths that you have to take because the
Mhm.
support is different. Um,
Right.
and also, last week you, we kind of discussed 37 and how that there was some reporting that like they were having difficulty installing certain things.
Right.
So I kind of wanted to cover that. I expected to have more trouble than I did. Honestly, I would say that right now I have everything working the way I'd want it to in my
Hmm.
production life. And I didn't even talk about gaming. Uh, Games seem to be working. I've basically only played Stray, which is not a hard game to play, but I mean it looks
Stray works.
great.
They all work.
Yeah. No, it looks fantastic. It's working great. I don't foresee any trouble with anything. I mean, like everything seems to be
Right.
working fine. I think this is the best. I'm hesitating, not because I'm questioning whether it's the best Fedora install. I'm thinking this could be the best Linux installation I've had.
Wow.
I know in a long time. I think this could be the best installation I have right now compared to almost anything that I've
Take
ever
that,
done.
naysayers.
And we talked about this before about how like it feels like two people can install the same distribution
Yeah.
and have wildly different experiences. You know?
I can install the same distribution, the same hardware, and have wildly different things happen. It's like I don't know. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is. I don't know if you can quantify it, but it happens to me all the time, and I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
So you
I
get a good install, keep it. Don't screw with it. Just keep it rolling.
yeah, yeah. It feels like you're like playing like a
Yeah, it
like a
does. It
slot
really
machine.
does. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just something I'm doing differently in each install, but I really don't do a lot of different things when I install stuff. I
That's
usually just do the same thing every time.
I feel like that has been my biggest thing is when it comes to a distribution like Fedora, the least amount of changes I can make, the better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, and that used to be what I always liked about Linux Mint was it was the fewest amount of changes that I needed
That
to
you
do
needed, right?
to get things
Yep.
where I liked it. And running something like Arch, I always felt like it was the opposite. The more
Yep.
changes I was willing to make, the better it would be. Um, so I don't know. I don't, but I feel like it should. I feel like somehow we need to narrow that gap where it becomes more stable. But I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't really know. I can't.
Yeah.
It's way better today than it has ever been in the past. But
Yep.
it's still
Well, I
it's
think a lot of it has to do with the hardware not being
yeah.
built for Linux,
It
or
was
vice
limitation.
versa.
It
Yeah.
kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the NVIDIA graphics cards, where it's like they feel
Right.
the need to put one out every year, no matter if they really are ready to or not.
Right.
Just things are changing so fast because they want you to buy, you know, more and more.
Yep.
And I was gonna say more and more hardware, but they just want you to consume more and more. Um, I think it's to the detriment of stability on these open source projects.
Yeah. A lot of
Um,
times. Sometimes. Yeah.
but anyway, right now I love my installation. I think it is. I think
Cool.
it's the best it's ever been. I don't know what to grade. I want to do some testing, I want to do some testing, like where we actually compare numbers on Windows. Now that I have a
Right.
Windows installation on another drive, um,
Oh yeah, that'll be
compare the
good.
two. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a video. So I try to do a playthrough video where I actually played a game, and I just don't think I have the talent for that sort of thing. To be entertaining while
It'd
I'm
be
playing a video game.
fine.
No, no, no. Here's I got a new format. Here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I want to cover I want to cover a game on the Steam Deck, on Fedora, and on Windows. And what I'll do is I'll take the FPS on all three, I'll take the installation process on all three, and compare those things, but then also talk about the game itself. So I'm thinking about
Okay.
working on a video this week, maybe on Stray since I'm playing that right now. But I'll play it on Windows and track the FPS for a while, and then take the average, and then I'll try to play that same section on Fedora on the same hardware, and track the FPS for a while, and then also on the Steam Deck and compare all three, um, and make a video out of it. More analytical than me trying to be entertaining while you know
Right.
having a cat jump from balcony to balcony across the futuristic city. um, but yeah, I don't have anything else to say about Fedora 37 other than it seems to be great.
Yep. Same here. Seems to be good for me.
All right. Oh, I also use Vivaldi all week because you asked me to. I need a little more time with it to kind of give a good review, but I'll say that I chose easy mode. Uh, and the only gripe I have, and there's probably a way to change this. Tell me if you
There
know how
is.
to change it.
There
Okay,
is.
okay, okay. Whenever you download something, it it pops up and asks you like save as, like old school Internet Explorer, and then you click save as, and then a sidebar pops out, and then you wait for it to finish, and then basically it's like Chrome or anything else where you can either choose to launch it or you can pick your thing. So it takes longer to download things because of that whole step where it asks me where I want
Yeah.
to save it. So what's the solution to this?
Well, you got to go into the settings for one. The
Okay.
the the monstrous thing that the settings are.
Yeah, it is a very
And
see. That's the reason I knew that there was a setting for this because it's a very very customizable browser. It's like that's
and
like
then
its key selling point.
yep. You go into the settings, you go to downloads. There's a little bar on the side,
All right,
downloads, and then
doing it
there's
now.
the first checkbox that's there. It says save files to default location without asking,
All right,
and
that's
then you
it.
can set the default right above that.
That's it. All right.
If there's some way you can do it with Vivaldi, you can do it.
Yeah, I was sure of that. I almost Googled it before the show, but I was like, no, I want to talk about it on the show. Yeah, it is a very customizable browser. I like the notes feature, so I
Dude, yeah, I have so many notes on that,
I haven't
and
used
it's
it yet.
markdown, so you can just export them
Oh, that's
however you
cool.
want.
I haven't
Yep,
used it yet, but I do like it. So I like the idea
and the
of it. I've
RSS
never used
feeder
it.
feed reader.
Oh, I haven't even looked at
Dude,
that yet.
okay, so if you go to like Pharonics, there'll be a little button right by the what am I trying to say? The URL that looks like an RSS. You click on that, it puts it automatically into your RSS feed reader.
Oh, cool. I will try that. I think both of those features would be really good for podcast notes.
Now you know
Um,
where I get all my sources from.
so the only modification I've made so far, I chose easy mode, which basically just makes it look like Chrome. There you have no
Yep.
special,
Right.
columns or anything.
Yep.
But I added the little the little side little
The left one, the left
yeah, the
bar.
little sliver
Yep.
that you click on
I
it and
have
it
that.
pulls it
Yep.
out. Yeah. So I turned that on. That's the only modification I've made other than changing my searches to Google. Which I know all the FOSS people hate me for using that.
Come on, DuckDuckGo, man.
I know.
Start page. What the heck?
And I also like the new tab page. So when you open a new tab and it has like all the different. I haven't customized it at all. I'm still using the same ones that are on there.
You can have tab layers, by the way, where you can put tabs inside of tabs.
Oh God.
It's amazing. I love it. Google's all in one tab. Amazon's all in another.
All right. Well, I don't hate it. I like it better than Brave. I'll say. Which
Oh yeah, Brave just rubbed me the wrong way, and plus crypto nonsense. But that's another
yeah, I was gonna
story.
say it hasn't tried to sell me crypto yet, which is a good, which is a good sign. All right. Well, let's call this an episode. Thank you for.
Wait, I gotta talk about my little
Oh,
handheld.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just want
Okay.
to mention it quick. It's just a little quick, you know,
I'm
mention.
pulling. I'm pulling it
So
up now.
yeah. So my friend contacted me after I talked. He watched the episode, our last episode, and he said he found his. It's let's see here, a DigiCont handheld game console. It's the RG
Oh,
350. He said he found it,
yeah.
and he's actually gonna send it to me.
The guy, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. I forget the name. Forgive me, but the guy that talked about there in the
Not
last
him,
episode.
not him.
Oh,
He's not the one. He another
it was
friend.
somebody else. Oh, wow.
Yeah, another one of my friends actually messaged me and said he found it, and I was like, heck yeah, I'll take it.
So this is the RG350
Yep,
handheld. It's a
yep.
handheld emulator. Um, if you order this one, which I don't know if the one you're gonna get, it's probably already been flashed, or you're gonna flash it with something else. But if you order this one, it comes with 2,500 classic games on a
Yeah, I
32
know.
gig memory card.
I don't know. I don't know what he's got on it. I have no idea. But my other friend Mike, the guy that was messaging us before,
Yeah.
he already told me that there's another firmware that I should be flashing to this because it just works better.
Oh, I don't I don't know if I put it in the show notes. Last week you mentioned one, and I think I forgot to go back and put it in the show notes. What was the name of that again? The
Oh,
OS that you can install.
Laka.
Laka. All right, I'm gonna put it here now so I can put it in last week's show notes. All right. No, that's really cool. I still have not tried any emulation on my Steam Deck yet either. So that's something else I should look into making a
Feature.
video about. Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening. Lord willing, we'll do this again next week. We're gonna try to get on a
Yeah.
weekly
Yeah.
schedule. I really appreciate everybody that joined the Discord. You
Yeah,
guys
me too.
are the best, and everybody that subscribed. We got a few new subscribers since the last episode.
Yeah.
Thank you
It's
guys.
nice. It's nice to have a Discord now. It's just I don't know. Feels homier.
It does. It does. It does. We can finally get off that couch. All right. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Peace.
See ya.